Hey, YouTube. I'm Brick Smith, and welcome to Forever Sorting with none other than Kevin A.
B. Just keep,
Hinkle.
yeah.
I think
Hello.
there he is. I'm thinking, Kevin. I think I'm going to start just coming up with different middle names for you to have. You know,
You do know Danger is my middle name.
oh,
No.
okay. Because my middle name is Trouble.
Trouble? Yeah. It's gonna be all the jokes. All the jokes is my middle name.
Yeah,
All the joke names.
there it is. As you guys know, you have seen where we are and where we have left off. Remind us where we left off in the chat. Tell us if you saw a special episode last week or you saw just the regular episodic.
Yeah, where are we? Let us know.
Let us know, because things
Things are fluid.
they feel good.
Welcome back, everybody.
There we go. How you mom and them? All right. Anyway, so as you guys know, we're following Kevin's career in through the Lego group, and he has been gracious enough to share it with us. The life and chimes of him and his coworkers and or underlings and or bosses. Uh, and we have learned here in recent weeks that it's not optional when Lego sends you a directive. You must do it.
It's not optional, people.
It's not. It's still not. I wonder to this day if there's still stores that are like, well, we're
Yeah.
just not going to put that out.
Oh yeah, there are still stores that do stuff like that.
Uh-oh. Why did I just get a bunch of freaking alerts?
Like what?
Like, that's quite a polybag. Super fan here. Keep the guests coming. And I was the 2x4 tile uploaded image uh, available for the Brick Fair. And then that's all it says. Uh,
You're not live. Don't worry.
I hope not. No, these are old comments, but I can't
Oh.
figure out why the computer just said, "Here, let's get something from Brick Blaze and collecting bricks and Hope Castle, aka Reed."
All together.
They just pop. I mean, like right beside of my computer here, and I'm a monitor, and I have to click them. There's Bricks are okay.
Hey, thanks, friends.
There's Imperial Bricks. There's Kittenville. There's Brick Vibe. That one.
Forever sorting through items that we don't understand.
Yeah, I'm geez, all my alerts. There's again, the Brickhead family, they commented first
Nice.
on the video, which was what I asked them to do. Thank
Nice.
you. There's another one from Hope Castle. Bear with me, Kevin. I got to get through these. There's a Bricks
Hey,
art.
all of you guys, thanks for watching us on another episode. While Julian goes through his
alerts.
All of his adoring fans' comments and alerts.
They're not my fans. They're Kevin's fans, and even if they're not Kevin's fans, then it's Forever Sorting fans.
It's everyone's a fan of something.
Something.
But thanks, guys, for joining us for another episode. We appreciate you being along for the ride. If you have any interest in following me outside of this program, my name is Kevin. You can follow me online at Mr. Kevin Hinkle on any social media platform, pretty much that there is. If you want to just follow my artwork as a freelance artist, at Mr. Hinkle Draws, including YouTube. I have a YouTube channel here where I share videos on how I create different works of art. And thanks for joining us.
Hey, Kevin, got a couple questions for you since this is what we're doing now.
Yes.
Who were you wearing, Kevin?
Today I'm going with a wonderful French designer. So yeah, this is the newly launched Beyond the Brick merch shirt, one of their designs. And so I got this one. It's kind of interesting because I didn't technically design this shirt, but I did design that logo. So it's fair. It's fair.
So everything from the B back is theirs. Everything from the B forward is Kevin.
Right.
There it is. I love it. So
there it
Kevin designed that half of the shirt.
I did. And what I thought was very fun was when I noticed that they launched all their new merchandise, which I was pretty excited for them. I've been following them for a very long time. I saw this design, and I was like, that's like the design I put in my final delivery of your assets.
Oh,
It wasn't exactly the same. I didn't have the fade,
yeah.
but when I gave them the kind of final package with all the here's your logo, here's how you could use it in different ways. I had a example, like a quick Google search of a T-shirt, and I had pretty much this exact thing on a shirt with the arrow, the brick, and the words, and then the stripe went all the way to the end. And so I was like, I have to get that shirt because that's like my original vision.
Yeah.
But that is what I'm wearing today. And as for what I'm building,
Oh yeah. And
I got some brick heads.
Mhm.
Wrong side.
There it is. Yeah. Fail.
Mickey and Minnie.
All right. So I got a follow-up question for both your build and the story for your shirt. I'm gonna go with the story first. So
Okay.
So Kevin one time invited the Beyond the Brick fellas to one of my live streams. And then an A-fall that was at the convention that they were at said, "Who's on there?
Yeah, who are you talking to?
Who are you talking to?" And the gentleman from Beyond the Brick, he said, Kevin Hinkle and a bunch of A-falls, or excuse me, YouTubers. Yeah. So we're just we're the bunch of YouTubers. So that means that their friendship is a lot closer than even Kevin's letting on at this exact moment. Now, Kevin, go ahead.
It was another example of how we could draw the Venn diagram of the different areas of the Lego community and how they're not quite all together. They're in these different pockets.
Yep, absolutely. Because there are some people out there that are just like, YouTube 8-balls, that's silly.
Yeah,
and exactly. Other people are like, 8-ball who doesn't do YouTube, what's the point?
Exactly. Why you're not even trying?
Yeah, you better. No, but I personally have through people in the community collectively overall have opened my eyes to the wider community, and I'm excited to be a part of the larger community. And like I told Kevin, folks may not know who I am before I go to the event, but when we're done, they will.
That is a true statement. He has said that to me.
Yep. The other thing is, Kevin, you do all these builds and all these boxes and things.
Yeah.
What do you do with your Lego boxes?
They go on to the recycling.
Okay. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I do not recycle my Lego boxes. I throw them in the trash. And I say that to say this. They're cardboard.
You're so forceful about it. I love it.
And they're cardboard and they're biodegradable. I could recycle, but they're going to end up breaking down over time. Just like my body has. Anyway.
I throw them in the trash.
Put them in the trash. You can't stop me.
Yeah.
So anyway. What do you do with your boxes? Do you keep them?
Yeah.
And also, me and Kevin had a discussion. I've decided to keep the Hogwarts castle box and put it back in the original box it came in. There's the brain. There's the brain.
And just in case, I know these are really quick builds. So if I get to those, I have this Friends as a backup.
Nice.
This is a Pop Star dressing room from 2015.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. M and Av own that set as well.
Nice.
So, what do you do with your boxes? And is Friends your favorite theme? What do you think of the mini dolls? Let's start a riot.
Oh, mini dolls. The mini dolls.
I have had a ebb and flow view of the mini dolls through the life of Lego Friends and Elves, and at this point, here's what I have decided. I personally do not play with the mini dolls themselves. The hair pieces are some of the best things that Lego has ever created. And here's the other part. I see it as yet another, when they make a different mold or when they do another thing, different type of animal, whatever. It's just another platform for us as a human to be creative.
Yep.
That's all it is, folks. If you don't like it, you don't have to like it. You don't have to like my opinion on it. But when Lego does stuff like that, I'm okay with it.
There it is.
There are rock monsters. There's big figs. There's rock monsters. There's, there's deviants or not. what's the word, Kevin? Deviation
Deviations, yeah.
from the original minifigs. And we could even go back and say that the ones we're playing with nowadays that everybody loves, they're deviation of the ones that didn't have any arms.
Yeah.
So let's go back to 78, folks.
There's always an argument that can be made for anything of why this thing is worse and it was so much better back then. Even the sharks. I like it when people talk about the Lego sharks and like the old ones were so much better.
You're talking about the print eye and the non-printed eye?
Yeah, the print eye or the molded eye.
I actually have right here in the shark party, I have an example of both. So I'm going to go ahead and take the screen from Kevin since we decided to make this a short sort. No. So there's this one and then there's that one.
Yep.
This is new.
Yep.
All right. And you open it up, literally the same mouth inside. And this is the old guy.
Yep. There it is.
And his eye is just molded in there.
There it is.
And the mouth is the same. So
and so people can turn that into like the fiercest debate ever.
Yeah, and it just is a thing.
Yeah, it is.
And I love them. I love them. Oh, the bottoms are different. I didn't even look at that. What? Sorry, Kevin. Look at the bottom.
Because people are too busy talking about the eye.
Look at that, folks.
Yep, change it up a little bit.
Yep. Hey, man, you need to mute that, okay?
I'm sorry, it was, and then I turned it off.
Needs to do better.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody.
Okay, Kevin. All right, stop apologizing and get to your story. Kevin's going to tell us about his story while he was in Arizona.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue on my tale of working in Arizona. So last time we talked a little bit about Jeff. We talked about James and Dave coming on.
Yep.
And some of we talked about the big fallout.
We did.
The come to Jesus meeting.
There it is.
That happened. That was a thing. That was an episode. But yeah, and so I'm trying to think of some of the other things that we changed. I know one thing that I did was I really liked Dan, who was on our show a couple episodes ago.
Couple, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a lot in Dan, and of course, I got to know Dan, and I know he'd been there from day one, and everything he had done, and how he had been interested in being a supervisor for years.
Yeah.
Or at least, I guess, whatever they were at 2 years, or whatever they've been open. Mm-hmm. And he'd always been, wanting to move up, and I was like, man, I like this guy's got the right stuff, I think.
Yeah, he got moxie.
Exactly, and so
got moxie.
One of the things I wanted to do with Dan is I wanted to groom him into a supervisor.
Absolutely.
And I wasn't, just another one of those fake, false promises of we're going to groom you into this role that we're never going to give you. And I was, honest with him. I said, I would love to see you go into that. So I'm going to try putting you in charge of a couple things and see how you do. And if you do good, we're going to move you up. And so one of those things was I put Dan in charge of Pick-a-Brick. So he was the person in the store that was going to be in charge of straightening it up, ordering it, cleaning it up, and all kinds of stuff like that. And he actually did really, really well at it. So spoiler alert, I did promote Dan to a supervisor. That was so he moved up, and as you guys heard in our episode where he was on, he did also move up again to assistant manager later. But I was really happy that I could, fulfill that promise to Dan. But yeah, Pick-a-Brick, to go on one of our fun little tangents. Pick-a-Brick is always a very interesting topic because people like Pick-a-Brick, especially people in the community.
I'm a fan, but here's the thing, before you go on, I'm a fan of 1x6, 1x8s, 2x4s, 2x2s. I like these 4x4 plates. I like the bigger plates. I like the green plates.
Yeah.
I don't like the tiles. What's your favorite Pick-a-Brick element that's ever been on the wall? Was it the horses?
The horses.
Lego changed their design of the horse, made it where the horse would rear back, and I guess they got rid of their old stock. Sorry,
Can I jump like super ahead in the story for a minute?
I would love to hear a little. The folks are clamoring for you to jump ahead for this. Just one quick story.
All right, I'm gonna jump like super far.
Please do.
So I'm working.
If I know the horse story, like I don't know Kevin's horse story, but if that jogs his memory, I know that is post. That's me coming out of my dark ages, so I know about what year that was, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah, probably 2012 or
12, 13, or 14, something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working at the Lego corporate office in Enfield, Connecticut, and I would say probably one of the most famous Lego product designers, Jamie Berard, who did the Cafe Corner, the Green Grocer, Grand Emporium, the roller coaster, the Ferris, all the carnival rides.
Yeah.
Jamie is very well known. He's currently a design manager for Lego. But so he was visiting nearby Enfield for something. I think he was either visiting his mother because he's American. He's from Rhode Island, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
But he wanted to come visit the office because surprisingly he had never visited the office. I mean, when you work in Billund and you are there every day, you don't really think, oh, I want to go see the U.S. office. Like, it's not exactly the same.
No.
But so I had started to get to know him and get to talk to him a little bit. And, again, surprisingly, at that stage, he didn't have a lot of contacts at the U.S. office. And so he said, hey, if I'm in the area, would you mind giving me a tour of the U.S. office? And I was like, absolutely, Jamie. So Jamie was in town. I'm giving this like super famous product designer a tour of the U.S. office.
All right.
And we go over to the Lego brand retail allocation area. Allocation meaning the person who sends the product to the Lego stores.
Mm-hmm.
And I was introducing him. I go, oh, Jamie. It was actually, it's even funnier because the guy was named Jamie. So it was Jamie.
Hey, it's me.
They spelled their names differently, but it was both Jamies. I was like, Jamie, this is Jamie. He sends over the products. And Jamie, the product designer, goes, do you have anything to do with Pick-a-Brick? And he started like nervously laughing. And he's like, yes, I do that too. And he goes, are you the guy that put horses on the wall? And the other Jamie, allocation Jamie, again, nervously laughing, he goes, yes. And then there's this pause. And he goes, that's the coolest thing ever. And they like shook hands. And I was like, I don't know where that was going to go either. I was like, what's happening? But as you just said, yeah, clearing out the old mold and allocation Jamie knew that fans would eat him up if he got rid of them in a good, constructive way and sent them out to the stores.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry. There were people like just clamoring over, oh, I got five Pick-a-Brick cups of horses. I don't know why they're there, but I'm so happy they are. I've heard that.
I just can't stop buying them.
Falls and T falls alike. So that's I do. Thank you for giving us that sneak peek into the future, and we really did enjoy hearing the story about the horses.
Yes. So Pick-a-Brick, as I was saying, Pick-a-Brick has always been one of these kind of interesting topics out in the community forever and ever for a lot of different reasons. But one of them I think that comes up the most often is who dictates what parts you get and when and why and how and all that kind of stuff. And they have flipped and flopped and flipped back and flopped back over the years, countless times.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will say that when back in the day, during my Colorado Mills and my Chandler days,
mm-hmm.
there was two different ways you as a store could elect to get your Pick-a-Brick assortment.
Mm.
You yourself could say, we want to be on auto replenish or we want to be on order. Now, there are pros and cons to either of those approaches. If you're on auto replenish, obviously that means that there are algorithms and formulas to dictate what you're going to get, when you're going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to think about it. The pros to that is you never have to think about it.
Yeah.
So as a store manager or as a management team, you don't ever have to sit there and stress out going, oh, goodness, why don't we have no pick-a-brick?
Right.
And the fault does not lay onto you. But the downside is you usually get a pretty bland assortment, bland in terms of AFOL perception.
Unless you're Bricksmith who just likes the bricks and plates.
Yeah, and another thing that maybe is obvious, but maybe it's not obvious, the desirable Lego elements that an AFOL wants, a typical AFOL, is going to be vastly different than what a mom or a grandma or little Johnny wants.
Amen.
And again, you need to remember, I know that it seems like there's lots and lots of AFOLs. There really isn't.
Compared to the children of the world.
There really isn't.
Yeah.
There is, yeah, you are outnumbered 100 to 1. But I can tell you, like, you know, I think probably one of the most annoying elements on the wall to many AFOLs are the tires. So most Lego stores will have the tires, which would be like the actual rubber tire part, the rims.
Yep.
And then, yeah.
Talk about tires and rims. Now, flashback to 2016. My daughter got to pick out her very first Pick-a-Brick cup.
Yeah.
She just grabbed a handful of rims,
Yeah.
a handful of tires, a handful of eyes, and a handful of gems. Okay.
the little diamonds.
Huh? Yeah.
Little diamonds, yeah.
In trans
yellow
orange cheese slopes.
Yeah.
1x1 cheese slopes. That was her Pick-a-Brick cup. Bless her heart. We get home, and of course I separated them all out, and then I started putting rims into tires.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, the child did not count any of these pieces.
Well, of course not.
No. There was an exact match.
Ooh.
How about them apples?
That is your M. Night Shyamalan twist ending for the day.
There it is, folks. Everybody filled out the exact same number of tires as did rims. Now, what we're going to do with those, we still don't know, but we have them.
That's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah. It was awesome. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it myself. And you guys can think that I'm lying, and that's fine.
No, you can't make that stuff up.
I didn't make that up.
That's awesome.
So there you go. Sorry for erupting your tires.
No.
Struck a chord in my brain.
That's good. It's good. But yeah, so probably the number one element that goes on that wall is going to be the tires.
Yeah.
And the reason is that a lot of times you have people that are looking for party favors or teachers that are coming in, and everybody wants a small little quick thing they can build off that wall. And what's a small little quick thing you can build off the wall? A car. And so many tires. But of course, I get it. AFOLs are like, oh, we don't need more tires. I got a giant bin of tires. We talked about it.
Yeah, we did.
And of course, the other thing is, to the mind or the eye, the perception of an AFOL, you're not only providing a part that's not necessarily in demand, you're taking up 3 whole spots on the wall to offer it, which is the rubber part of the tire, the rim, and the axle to attach it to. And so I get it. But those will always, always, always be on the wall because they are the number one seller on that wall.
There it is.
Because everybody wants it. So you're going to have to get over it. But
I'm over it. I just want bricks. Give me bricks.
Yeah, as I was saying, you can choose as a store to order your own assortment. So ordering your own assortment isn't as magical as it sounds. It's not, oh my goodness, you have free reign of the factory. Congratulations. Which elements would you like to order? Pause, 1 minute.
Yeah, Kevin is now drinking water. It's good for the body. It's good for the soul. Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated, everybody.
There it is.
But so you would be given a list of elements that you could choose from. And the list was not very exhaustive. So it was probably, at one point in time, the total element assortment was, something ridiculous, like 3,000 different shapes or whatever and colors.
Wow.
And the list itself would have like 300. So, I mean, you're not looking at everything, but you have a list and you can choose from it. And these are elements that were already pulled somewhere at some point by somebody. And they're in a warehouse and they're there for stores to pick and choose. So that's kind of cool, but that means you need to have someone who's totally dedicated to that.
Yeah.
And they're staying on top of it. And
I got another brick question.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I've noticed, and I don't know what the level of truth of this is. I've noticed that there'll be a part or a piece or a thing that'll be newly minted or newly set up or come in a different. They'll put a thing in. It's okay. Plain and simple. I just did the big Hogwarts castle. I don't know my words today, folks. The ski stick.
Yeah.
In the CMF.
Yeah.
It's now saying green, and I expect to see it on the brick wall at some point because they're going to discontinue it, and I don't know what other sets other than the Harry Potter sets that they're going to put it in.
Okay.
That's my question. Is there stuff that
is the question? Should you expect to see it on there?
The question is that a factual? They take stuff that they change the color and put it in a different set, and now all of a sudden it's rampant on the wall or whatever.
Not necessarily.
I don't know what I'm saying. I did not put that out as eloquently as I was hoping, and I don't believe I've cleared it up yet. So don't worry about it.
We're just getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I'll be okay. Negate the question and move on with your story, sir. I apologize.
No problem.
I'll be offline if you need me. Remember, gotta love those bricks.
Bye, everybody. Yeah, no, it's what's interesting is, again, even from a pick-a-brick limited perception, it's not limited like just a free reign of the factory of production. Yeah. So even at like a year in advance or a year and a half in advance, somebody somewhere.
Didn't we talk to you about that?
What?
Your phone just dinged.
My phone is now muted, but my computer did.
Oh, come on.
Sorry. So somebody somewhere has to determine ahead of time what elements do they think would be good or viable to sell on the wall.
Yeah.
And so then that assortment and that list is just getting handed over from person to person to person. The list is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until eventually you're left with whatever is the real assortment for the wall. The bricks for the wall are packaged in cases. I'm sure people in the community have seen the cases before.
I've seen people buy the cases.
Yeah, little, it's like a K, whatever, K5 or something, or K2. I don't remember the K system, but small cardboard box. That is essentially a product. That box to the Lego group is the same thing as this box with Lego parts to make this set. So somebody somewhere has said, siphon off this many elements from the factory to put into that box, slap a barcode on it, give it a name, and now that is a thing. So that box will ring up in the system as $.000. It doesn't have a retail value to it, but it is a inventoriable item that can now be produced by the factory and put in a warehouse. And so you have somebody who, somewhere in the DCs, the distribution centers, you have these pallets and pallets and pallets of these pick-a-brick cases. So it's not like somebody's looking down the aisle in a factory going, what do we have the most parts of this year? Okay. It's not at all like that. It's, like I said, a year and a half ahead of time, someone going, I think red 2x4s might be good. So tell the factory, to siphon off X 100,000 whatever so that we can produce these boxes of these parts so that these boxes can go to the Lego stores.
Got it.
Does that make sense? Is that kind of...
Yeah. Thank you for answering my convoluted question.
Yeah. But it's not it's come up a lot where that is a theory. That is a fan theory that there's that person with the green visor and the clipboard, and they're walking down the aisles going, what should we put on the walls this year? And they're looking through like the factory aisles.
Yeah.
And I wish it was that simple. It's not. As you can imagine, there's a lot of different opinions from people on what they think will be the best parts to do that for.
Sure.
What's really cool, I think it's still happening, but one of my last tasks at Lego before I left was working more in advance with that team to put fan favorite elements in the assortment.
There it is.
So what we would do is I would get the list, which of course has already been cut down from another list, which has already been, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I get a list, and I would be told, tell us which parts specifically do you think AFLs would want, and we will put it on the wall. And so the first year I was given that, it was kind of ironic because that was also a year where there were those pick-a-build models.
Oh, yeah. I actually am a fan of those.
Yeah. Those didn't do well, but that was a thing. That was a thing. But so I was given that, the very first opportunity I was ever given to look at an official list and give an AFL perspective of what parts do you want to see on the wall, was a year during that. And so I said, what was I given? Like, I was given 10. I could pick 10 parts. And all 10 parts that I picked were all elements that would have already been on the wall because they're in the pick a model.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you remember, the pick a models all had some pretty good parts for AFLs in them.
For sure.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was like, well, okay. So then my choices that very first year were kind of like my backup choices because my real choices were already going to be on the wall anyway.
Right.
All right. But so we were able to sophisticate that system the next year and the year after because we would actually poll the ambassadors through the ambassador network to tell us which elements they would like to see on the wall. The key, though, the Achilles heel, because as I've been telling you, this is a part of production and factory. They have to pull these parts well in advance, is that we would have to ask the community, what parts do you want to see on the wall? By the way, you won't see them until 18 months from now.
Yeah.
And that's a long time to wait. And you're probably already well onto new parts that you want by then.
Oh, for sure.
But we did it, and it worked. And it was actually really cool because when you went to the store, at least while I was there, and you saw the fan favorite call out on the wall around a certain bubble, that was real. That was a real fan met AFL.
Yeah.
A fan voted or voiced element that was on that wall specifically to cater to the Lego adult fan community.
Nice.
That's cool. It's a cool thing.
We just went down a rabbit hole, and I'm enjoying being down this rabbit hole.
Good. I'm glad.
We'll call this the Pick-a-Brick episode.
I don't think I don't have anything else to say about it.
No, I know. We've already gone. That's half of the episode already, though.
Right. So. And yeah, the whole reason we even started about it is because I put Dan in charge of it for Arizona.
Oh, hey, real quick about your build right there. Is that the first time we got that the ear mold, the plate mold in black?
I think it is.
Nice.
I think it is.
I do love a new color in an old mold.
Yeah.
I do. It makes me so happy.
I have so many of these in like bizarre colors that are not really helpful.
I have one with the taco printed on it.
It's like Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's like the cutlery, like the forks and spoons and knives.
Yeah.
So many in like pink and orange and blue and nonsensical colors.
Yep.
And there's the one normal silver spoon from the Ninjago collectible minifig series. Yep. And like otherwise you get fruity cutlery.
That's it.
That's what you get.
Hashtag girl Lego.
Hashtag all about that fruity cutlery.
Fruity colors.
So yeah, so
Interrupting. Go ahead.
oh, that's fine. So we cleaned up our pick a brick act, if you will, at Chandler. I want to say that we were on the auto replenish. I never liked getting off of auto replenish because I was too afraid that we would be screwed. And I can tell you that there were stores that shall remain nameless for the story
No.
that opted for the only order in, and they were screwed. And there were times where they had to do like emergency, please help us. We are the Lego store in whatever state, and we have no pick a brick at all, and we have an empty wall. Please ship us. And you're like, how would you have no pick a brick? Oh, well, we chose not to be auto replenish.
Well, there's your problem right there, folks.
That's a problem. At one point, well, this might really be the pick a brick episode. At one point,
I think it should be.
the corporate office, the leadership opted to tell everybody that ordering was no longer an option. They said auto replenish or that's it. That is your only choice. And the reason that came about at one point
Because of idiots. No,
was because people messed it up.
yeah.
So people were doing the ordering and they were stockpiling like nobody's business. And I saw and visited one of the stores that did such a thing.
Oh dear.
And I was like flabbergasted because they had so much pick a brick. They had a full wall. They had a full back stock, which is probably 2 to 3 to 4 entire shelving bays of extra stock.
Oh my goodness.
And not one, but 2 off-site storage units filled with cases of pick a brick elements.
Yikes.
And ordered with the best of intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, it's a new cool part. I got to get it. But not thinking about, well, do you need it? Can you store it? How is your actual like sale going? Are you pushing through the inventory where you can warrant that? So at one point they said, you know what? You're all cut off. Nobody can order anything.
Oh.
And so that happened, and that was a revolt. And the people that were ordering were upset. And the people that weren't were like, well, we never ordered before, so okay.
Yeah, we're doing fine.
Yeah, and so that happened for a good chunk of time. And then eventually they eased up and said, okay, fine, we'll let it go back to normal. So over the years, the pick a brick ordering procedures have, as I mentioned, flipped and flopped back and forth between, do the stores have a say? Do they have no say? Do they have a little say? It just kind of goes back and forth and back and forth. Here's a insider trick. A lot of times they just tell you they don't have a say because they just don't want to deal with you. So
yeah, they don't have a what?
When the staff of a store are like, sorry, we have no control over what's on this wall.
Oh right. Okay.
They just kind of don't want to deal with you. That's kind of
the
so there could be a fan who's being a little aggressive in wanting to get their choices on the wall and their pieces. I think as it stands right now, they do have a little bit of a say where they can order certain things. Again, if it's on that list, it's not this free reign. But an easy way out is, sorry, we have no control over what's in the wall. That's an easy way out of that conversation.
Absolutely, and that's pretty cool. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out the other questions I got for you. Why do they sell the cases sometimes?
Oh goodness,
because that happened.
Yeah. So pick a brick sales by case is another one of those sore subjects. So it was never a big thing in the early brand retail days. Because again, Lego wasn't a big thing, right? Nobody's really stopping in, no one's really buying. But every now and then, once in a blue moon, you'd have that collector or enthusiast or big mock builder come in and say, well, I want to buy an entire case of this brick.
Absolutely. I've seen the mocks that have them in there.
Yeah. And so in the beginning, there was like no consistent approach to handling that request because, as I mentioned, the item is set up in the system to ring up at 0.
Right.
But you have to scan it. You have to scan it because it's an item. So like when a store employee is filling up the pick a brick wall, and they box cutter open a box and they pour it, they got to wring that box out of the system because they now just took that out of the inventory.
Gotcha.
So we're like, well, what do you do? What do you do? And so eventually, I don't know, trial and error, somebody came up with a price, and the price was $50, I think, in the very beginning. So it was like, well, $50 per case.
Are you? That must be. I've heard things of the nature of 6 pick-a-brick cups worth.
Oh, but I'm going all the way back to 2005.
Yes, sir. I apologize. Continue, old master of the pick-a-brick.
So that was like my earliest memory of selling a case was like $50 a case.
Okay.
And that was me walking back to the manager going, somebody wants to buy a case of these bricks. How much am I supposed to sell it for? And how do I do that? And so this was kind of a burden because you'd have to get a manager to do a price override of the item in the system.
Sure.
Which is a manager-only feature, so you can't do it as a sales associate. But they'd come out, they'd ring it up, you'd have to go in and manually override the cost of the item, switch it to a different cost. But so we did 50 for a while. Then it changed to 75.
Okay.
So after however many years or whatever, we go, oh wait, pick a brick is available by the case, but for $75. Okay, fine. It made no difference what the element was. At one point, we had 2 different size pick a brick cases. So we had the one that everybody knows, and then there was one that was twice as long.
Oh,
that one was $100. So it was $75 for the small box and $100 for the big box. That only lasted a short period of time. Then the big boxes, I never saw them again. But it was slightly larger elements in the bigger box. So I think they were in some way that was equaling out somehow. Then a longer box, you get the same as a shorter box, but it's a bigger piece. But those went away. But so eventually it became $75 a case. Then things got really weird. So then as Lego stores started popping up everywhere, and you now had stores all over the country, and now Lego's popular, and there's Eiffels everywhere, and everybody's asking about pick-a-brick cases, it became very apparent that there needed to be a consistent rule.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason being is because this is when you started getting into that gray area where stores handle it differently. So, it was really bad when you go to places like there's a cluster of stores. Mm-hmm. So like, 3 stores in Toronto, 5 stores in Illinois, 11 stores in California. Those are the worst because you go in there and you go, especially if you go to like a con. Like if you're driving from Kansas to Chicago for Brick World. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a Lego fan. I'm going to hit every Lego store in my drive. And you know what? You're going to. Yep. And you sit there and you go, that's weird. That store wouldn't sell me cases. That store said it's against their policy to do it. That store did it, but they charged me $75. That store did it, but they charged me $100. That store said that's never an option and no store should have ever offered me that. It was becoming a huge problem. Absolutely. Because it became this free-for-all. So, as it became an issue, eventually got the attention of the uppity ups.
About time.
And they said, wait a minute. Selling pick-a-brick by the case, you can't do that. And they're like, you should, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Those are not meant for sale. And so there was a brief period of time where it stopped completely. Oh. And then, of course, the complaints happened.
Oh, yeah.
People were like, why would you not want my money? And so they said, all right, well, apparently there's a big demand to do this, so we just need to find out a way to do it.
That's it.
They reevaluated and they said, well, the reason we didn't want it for sale ever is because we actually lose money on it. Because of the way it all parts out by the cup and pouring it out of the box, there's a much higher profit margin for selling it by the cup than there is by the box. And so the claim was that when you sell pick-a-brick by the case, you lose out a lot of money. And of course, there are certain examples where they're absolutely right. Where like if you bought a case of 1x1 round tiles, you're going to get like 50,000 tiles in that box. And you paid the same amount as if you bought a box of 2x4s and you get a couple hundred in there or whatever.
Right.
And so there's certain shapes that I mean, I could totally see the argument. Yeah, you're losing money by selling it by the case. And they didn't like that. They're like, we don't want to lose money on anything. And so then we went into the period of, oh my, it was so complicated, of having a chart where you had these parts need to charge this much, these parts you need to charge this much, and they were taking the internal manufacturing cost of those different boxes, which they had to figure out what that was, and adding a percentage over. That was so convoluted because it's like, all right, so this element is in this bracket, so that means your pick-a-brick box is going to be $135, and so it just became such a problem.
Yeah.
But that was the way that they saw as like a good way to keep earning money, but offering it as a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is stupid. So that went for a little while, and then it stopped again. Then it went back to no sales again. And then they came back, and they came back with, I believe, $100 a case, but not all elements are available by the case. So then they made like a do not sell by the case list. And of course, those were all the elements where they would lose money.
Of course.
So they say, don't sell these by the case. You can only sell these. So you could only sell the cases that there would be a profit if you sold it by that much.
Sure.
And of course, usually those are the ones that people didn't want to buy. And so that was a huge stretch of time where you could sell it. All the boxes were a flat $100, but there was a lot on the do not sell list.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see, I mean, it's gone all over the place over the last several years. Then
Mm-hmm.
the Pick a Model program launched, where you have cool little models you build on the wall. That doesn't exist anymore.
We got the butterfly.
I think actually it still kind of exists in some of the flagship stores.
Yeah.
Like I think in Rockefeller you can build the Statue of Liberty still on the wall, because that makes sense because it's a tourist thing. But when that program launched, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of cool parts in there.
Heck yeah.
So there was a huge demand to buy parts by the case because there was a lot of cool parts that wanted to be purchased. Upper management, again, was very worried that, from their words, the AFLs would buy out all the Pick-a-Model pieces.
Yeah.
And then all the consumers, Johnny Q Public and little Sally, can't build the model because all the AFLs bought all the cases of the parts to make the models. I'm like, all right, I guess there's something to that concept. So they said, in order to avoid that situation, we cannot sell Pick-a-Model parts by the case. But we don't really have enough faith in our staffs to differentiate between what is a Pick-a-Model element and what is a non-Pick-a-Model element to do that. So we're going to save ourselves the headache and shut it all off.
Wow.
And so we went back into a dry spell of it's all off. No pick-a-brick by the box.
Wow.
And up until, I think it was maybe halfway through that program, they got a lot of negative comments about it, like comments on forums, complaints. And they came to me and they're like, Kevin, we're so confused. Why are all the AFLs complaining that they can't buy pick-a-brick? Of course they can buy pick-a-brick. I'm like, no, they're not complaining that they can't buy pick-a-brick. They're complaining that you won't sell them cases of pick-a-brick, which they've on and off had available to them for the last 10 years.
I remember complaining about it or having AFLs complain about it in our live streams many years ago.
Yeah. And so they were not happy to hear that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, well, we don't want that. And I was like, well, and that's how I found out what the real reason was. Like, well, then why did you stop offering it? And this was years later when I'm in here, Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And that's when they explained to me, oh, well, it's because of the Pick-a-Model and whatever. I just explained it. And I was like, well, and it kind of irked me, that comment, because I was like, so you don't have enough faith in your staff? And again, I was their staff at one point.
Yeah.
And I don't ever forget my roots. I don't forget where I came from. And I sat there and I remember going, wow, so you don't trust your store employees enough to let them differentiate between what they. So you're just going to turn it all off, and everybody's upset.
So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take Legos. I'm gonna debate you right now. I'm gonna take Lego's side, and I want you to think about the Arizona store and the management doing cocaine in the bathroom.
Yeah, I know.
I think Lego should probably have hired better employees collectively across the board. However, after they hired the person that looked like they had all good intentions and ended up being a cokehead that used to take loans out of the safe with an IOU put there later.
Fair enough.
There it
Fair
is.
enough, man. Fair enough.
If they had hired a force of Kevins, a Hinkles,
Right.
then yes, you should definitely be fully offended by their statement of that. However, Kevin was never in anybody's bathroom snorting coke.
That's true. That never happened. I promise. I'll take the polygraph to prove it. Yeah, I mean that's totally fair. Totally fair. But yeah, as I said, in honesty, it irked me. But I always felt, and I still to this day, I feel connected to all the store employees. I feel like that was my, hey, there's a lot of bad ones out there, but
yeah,
like that was my battalion. I came from that, and so I always got that soft spot for my fellow retail brethren and sisters out there.
I get that. I ain't trying to hurt you or nothing.
No. But fair enough. So yeah, that was that, and yeah, they pulled another reverse course on it again, and they were like, okay, well we'll offer it up, but we can't sell those pick-a-brick model elements, and also what else like really shot them in the foot is they released a very kind of vague, not well written directive to the stores, telling them that you can sell pick-a-brick again by the case, but don't sell pick-a-model, and kind of keep an eye on the pick-a-model parts because we don't want AFLs to buy them all out. But it was worded poorly.
Yeah.
And so there was actually a lot of very unfortunate situations where you had staff members policing the wall in the stores. And so fans are coming in trying to fill up a cup. And they see like the eyeballs. Remember the eyeballs, everybody?
Yeah, Emily's got a handful of them from the pick-a-model.
Yeah, that's why they're there. That's why they got on the wall, was because of the pick-a-model, and people wanted cups of it. I get it.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of unfortunate circumstances where staff were like, "Excuse me, sir, are you making the pick-a-model?" And like, because they're grabbing for the eyes, like, no, I can't allow you to take that many. And it was just like, that's like the worst customer service experience ever.
Yeah.
And that happened. So Pick-a-brick by the case has had a turbulent history of being offered and not offered and scrutinized and changed in price, raised in price, things being put on the do not sell, you can sell but avoid. I don't know where it stands today. I think you have to add, no, maybe it's not offered anymore. I don't know. It goes back and forth so often that I can't keep up with it. And I want to say that the stores handle it differently again.
Oh, that's always wonderful.
Put back to the point where some will do it, some won't. And I think like what you said, I've heard that before where someone's like, well, this box equals this many cups, so I'm going to charge you this many cups.
Yeah.
But that's not a good solution.
No.
Because then, unless you take the cups too, because the cups are in inventory also. So you're like inventorying out these cups that you're not giving away. And then instead of ringing up the box, and it's going to like screw all your inventory up. And believe me, you're inventorying on all those things. But I think I've heard that before where stores will be like, that's about 10 cups. So I'm going to charge you 10 cups. It's like, no.
I've actually heard of somebody filling up the cup or taking the element out of the box, filling up the cups, and then dumping it back in the box, and they got their number that way, and that's how they charged. But which seems like if you take the cups, it seems like the right way to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Such a pain.
It is.
Such a pain. And I think we mentioned this a long, long time ago, but they did experiment with a larger container. Did we ever talk about that? The green?
Way back.
which I still have. I use them in my collection, but that was a green bin because they were trying to experiment with the whole adult collectors buying more than a cup or a bag. And that was $100 for the box, and it did terribly. Didn't sell at all. But yeah, I don't know. And also, let us know in the comments if you're one of those people that sits there for like 6 hours filling up a cup in the store. You know who you are. You know who you are. Like, that's so. I don't have the patience for that. That's just because it's times two because you put it all together. You got to take it home, take it all apart. It's just like, oh man, is it worth it?
Now listen, I had myself, Brick Jams, and his wife stand there and help me put together a 2x4. We went and we found Chad Collins' video that he posted 100 years ago on how to fill a pick-a-brick cup with bricks.
Yeah.
Because I needed 10 bricks to do the build behind me that you can't see because that thing over there.
Yep.
And I never used any of them, but whatever, it's cool. But I filled it up. I did it to where that we got the most brick in the cup. I think we ended up with 147 or 170 2x4 bricks in there.
Yeah.
And it was definitely worth it for me.
Sure.
I didn't have to work real hard because Jamie and Sam did most of the work. I just stood there freaking out, looking for eyeballs. No. But would I do it every time? No, I didn't do it in 16 when I went to Philly, and I don't plan on doing it next week or the week after in Alabama.
It just takes a lot of time, and it's one thing if you have a lot of friends that can help you out.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been there when it's like, wow, this guy's been in the store for 5 hours filling this cup. I'm like, man, okay. And it's in my experience, it's never even really a lot of cups either. It's like the people that do that, like, I like to buy these 3 cups. I'm like, you spent 10 hours filling 3 cups? It's like, oh my goodness. Okay, hey, whatever. But that happens.
Yeah.
And of course, I remember when we started taping the lids. That was a thing because people couldn't shut it. And like, what are we supposed to do? Like, we use packing tape. And like, that was once upon a time when the first caveman employee took out a tape gun and like taped it. And now every store does it. But and then now, of course, people get reconditioned. They go, oh, they tape it. You can put more in it. And so then they put more in it because they know it doesn't have to click shut. Now they can just tape it. And then like people would come over and they'd have their cup. And there's like 3 inches of exposed bricks. And they go, can you put a piece of tape on this? It's like, that's not how this really is supposed to work. It was originally supposed to be the cup had to seal. And it's like slowly through time, it's just gotten more and more like it's crazy.
I love the brick idea. I love the bricks and pieces idea. I like where we can get our hands on things in bulk.
And maybe it's a surprise, maybe it's not. But as a store manager who used to run the numbers for 2 locations,
mm-hmm.
every single week for as long as I can remember, large and small pick-a-brick cups were always in the top 10 by quantity items sold in the store every week, all year.
Nice.
I mean, of course, everything else fluctuated.
Mm-hmm.
But as a part of a report that we had to send corporate every week was what was your top 10 items by quantity and what was your top 10 items by sales. And pick-a-brick large, pick-a-brick small, every week, no exceptions, every time.
And I firmly believe that has to do with the fact that as to where this Lego set is only the kids want it. And this Lego set is only grown-ups want it. When you get pure elements, everybody wants them.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins, just like watching this show.
Exactly. Hopefully you learned something interesting. Because I think, I guess this is the pick-a-brick episode. I had Dan do this thing, and then it's all just.
Thank you, Dan, for doing the thing. So
hey, he did a good job.
Yeah. I enjoyed that. I think we should probably, if you guys have a question and regarding to a specific Lego thing, like the pick-a-brick cup or the other stuff that they do.
the other things.
Well, how about we could do a whole episode about how you have to pay per ounce in Orlando?
Yeah. Oh man, I wish in the Lego store or at Legoland.
Huh?
Is that Legoland or the Lego store?
I don't know. I just know Jamie. No, it's good question, because Jamie brought me a bag home one time.
I think the Legolands do wait. I think.
That's dumb. I hate that. That's stupid.
Sadly, I have a little knowledge of Merlin's processes, but not as much as Lego's processes.
I'm just saying.
But no,
That's
but in general, it would be nice to get questions. It's actually been a while since we've done a Q&A episode, so it'd be good to have another Q&A at some point soon.
I enjoy barking my questions at him and letting him answer them. It makes me feel important and useful. That part.
Bark. That was my Chihuahua bark.
Bless it. Bless your heart. But Kevin, we good or?
I think we're good for today.
We're good. Okay. Sorry, it couldn't be longer, folks. Real life responsibilities. There they are.
Thanks for coming. I'm not even gonna try to do many. Stop. Remember, you're gonna love those bricks.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.